Okay. So in our home, we have my awkward video, resources, we have our learning plan, which I'm not going to go through this. You guys are adults, you know how to read through things. The semester is broken into this is old. You don't know. You probably don't even see those because Zoom has been built in that. We don't need that anymore. The semester is literally just broken into 3 big assignments, which you can either love or hate that. I really love it because I think it just keeps your focus and your creativity on these 3 big ones. And then you can just roll with it. The disadvantage to that is if you drop the ball or if you decide not to care about it from the beginning and then continue not care about it, if you miss the mark on that first one, that's one big giant grade that you've pooped the bed on, right? So always want to make sure that we can stay on track with those. So our first assignment is a farm to table pattern. I'll go through a little more detail in a brief moment. Our second project is the self-portrait. It's been around for a long time. I'm sure you guys, if you've maybe not have been at the college too much, but I'm sure you all know and have seen these come in. So the self-portrait is there. And our last and final project is an infographic, which is loads of fun. People responded really well to it. The industry responds really well to it. I've heard lots of really great things from the portfolio review class and when they've brought industry people in. Infographics they've been around for quite a while, but they are still hot. They're still what people want to see. I really like it because it takes some brain power in different ways. So obviously creatively, but also to do some research to break information down into the best way possible. Like a quick visual form. It's difficult, but it's also a great thing to know and a great thing to learn. So our first assignment is farm table. There will be, I will create probably under here, since we're not doing recording. Oh, this is Zoom recordings. I did change that, but those are all the Zoom links. That's what the problem is. There will be a page once we get going that will be, I will link it here. I'll probably end up linking it. Actually, yeah, I'll just probably link it in this one spot, which will have all of our recordings. So any recordings like we're doing today, which is just me babbling away, maybe like a chance for you folks to ask some questions. And then there will also be like tutorial links, which are already in here. But I'll probably just create a sheet as well for those. Just so there's zero excuses as to like, I couldn't find it. It's like, well, it's all right here. So that's what that will be. Project 1, you ready? I feel like I'm busting it a little bit. So just stop me if I'm going too fast and please just put messages or just interrupt me. So for assignment, I'm kind of like the type of person that likes to download a brief and keep it on file. So if you need to, it's here. But we can also just go into our assignment section. I'll go into what this mood board sketches is, but I will jump into the actual main assignment folder one here. So our farm to table restaurant pattern. So this is due on week 5. So we are technically already week 2. So lots of time, but we still have to bust a move. So our brief is to create an endless pattern to be utilized on various material for a farm to table restaurant, selling their products that range from clothing to preservatives to cheese and to pottery. Oh, I don't have the restaurant name. It's called Pasture. Our outline is the pattern recognition tells us something valuable about the environment, and we can take comfort in knowing or in making the predictions. Your new client is already a well-established restaurant named Pasture that specializes in farm-to-table eating. They're looking to renovate their space into a chic yet rustic with a warm, welcoming feel. Incorporate into that, they want to create a custom pattern for a strong brand recognition to utilize across several platforms in their space and in their materials. Some materials include a feature wallpaper wall, material for reusable napkins, t-shirts, tote bags, and packaging. The client would like to use the pattern to have a unique, earthy, or The client would like the pattern to have a unique earthy feel to it without being too, quote, predictable. If you don't know what I mean by when I say predictable, it's like, you know, fork, knife, fork, knife, fork, knife. Like, try to keep it organic, try to have a little fun with it and think outside the box of predictable farm stable. You should be able to utilize the pattern in small scale. So when you scale it down, those little shapes or whatever they are you should be able to see them and recognize what they are, but also in a much larger format. So when we expand that pattern up into, say, wallpaper, it still looks good and it's not overwhelming when it's too big or too small. So our requirements, a mood board with some inspirational imagery and colors. I do like to have at least 3 sketches for your patterns. I know sketching, most people don't like sketching. I hated it when I was in college, and I have 100% grown to love it now. So you will grow to love it. I'm going to just make you do it now. We're going to create our pattern onto an 18 by 18 artboard. There will be a tutorial next week as to how to jump into that pattern. So when I'm giving you all these shapes and measurements right now, don't worry about it. Just focus on the big picture creative portion of things right now. So the pattern must have elements that bleed off the edge to effectively have an endless pattern. So when I say that, if you have an 18 by 18 artboard, we're not going to keep everything in here, so we end up with a big white line around it. We want it to look a little more organic, so it should go off the edges. The pattern must be 100% vector and no effect. So we're not going into Photoshop and adding bells and whistles, touching upon that. Same thing if you are an illustrator. Is this the illustration group? No. If you are using, or if you like using Procreate by chance, or a tablet to do your illustrations on, that's fine, as long as you don't use anything too fancy, because you will have to do a live trace to vectorize it once you do. I like using Procreate. It drives me crazy that it's not vector. So when I do that, I bring my file into Illustrator and I do a live trace, and then I do, in fact, also have to clean it up afterwards. Just checking out the chat. This is the print stream. Thank you for letting me know. Pattern size requirements. So once you create your pattern on your artboard, you will place it onto a 36 by 36. Again, all of these numbers are probably not going to make a ton of sense until we do our tutorial. So I'm not going to bother reading through that stuff. We'll go into a little bit more detail next week on that. Then we're going to be mocking our pattern up in situ and provided images. So we will be doing a tote bag, a napkin, and a restaurant wall. If you guys want to have a little bit of fun, I do think that you guys are in 5th semester, so there's a big potential for your projects to be portfolio pieces. If you're absolutely loving what you're doing, I will be providing a few other blanks if you do want to apply your pattern to other elements to perhaps maybe beef it up a little bit more if you want. It's not required, but if you do want to, you're welcome to. Then we are going to have a final PDF presentation. When I say presentation, I just mean like a presentation on paper. You don't actually have to present to me. You will have your mood board, your sketches, your final artwork, and your mock-ups. And then I do also need to see your Illustrator file that has your 18 by 18 original setup, and then how it's set up on your 36, 36, 36. So you want to see it small scale and large scale, and then in its basic general form. Directions. So we're going to research, collect, and collect inspirations for the artwork. So depending on the direction you want to go in, I want to see a mood board that builds upon that. Then you're going to create your mood board and your brainstorm and sketches. So a minimum of 3 sketches. Then we create our artwork, and then we flush it out onto our different artboards so we can see the different sizes. And then we're going to create our mock-ups, throw it all together in a presentation, and you are done. So here's your assessment breakdown. Obviously your mood board, your artwork, so your idea, execution and creativity. So is it done well? Is it like a really cool, unique idea? Does it not look like the average idea? Does it not look like the guy next to you's idea? Proper format. So making sure you hit all these nails on the head. So make sure you hand in all of the formats, your presentation, etc. And then your actual presentation. What does that PDF look like? Does it look professional? Did you throw it all together at the last second? That's all worth something, right? So I always like to provide a work back schedule as well, so you can keep things in line for yourselves. So week 2 is now, obviously, we have our intro. Week 3, so the end of next week, we're going to have our mood board, our sketches. What am I saying here? Oh, discussions, that's what I was saying. Our mood board and our sketch discussions. So it's not required you have a one-on-one meeting with me, but if you're in class and you do want to have a chat about the project, I love chatting about your work. I love the one-on-one with you. I like getting to know you as people. I like getting to know you as designers. So if you can, if you want to, then I can provide feedback on the fly right there. Hey, Mike, why don't you try this and this? Or great job, Sam. I like where you put this. I really like concept 1 over concept 3 and 2 and 3, etc. So it's up to you, because you will hand those in and I will provide feedback that way, but one-on-one might also be really nice. And then we're going to have our pattern tutorial. So then, like I said, at the end of week 3, those mood boards are due. So the end of next week. Then week 4, we're going to look at how to create our mock-ups, our in situ. And then again, in-class work, opportunities for one-on-one if you want them. Week 5, how to hand your final artwork in. And then again, in-class work and discussions. And then at the end of that week, we are wrapping it up and finishing up. Any questions? No?